I do have to say for the desk that the fun part about not knowing anything is that it makes every single game so much more exciting.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's exciting as long as they don't play bad. Then we're just sad.
I love that. I don't know. We don't know.
We don't know. That's our favorite thing to
Do you know? I don't know.
they put us up here. Can you believe that? No, but this is a huge game for both of these squads. Space Station, like Lawler said, they have been trending upwards, but over the course of multiple weeks and not just one or two, this team, they struggled in the first 2 weeks of the season. They were shooting, what, 10% at the end of week 2, maybe even at the end of week 3. Week 4 is where they really started to ramp up. Week 3, they were figuring it out, and then week 4, I mean, Sipical shot 50% last week in 2 series.
I mean, Sipical was nuts alone, but then Arsenal, I love the solo dribble plays that he was coming through. Every time he got the ball, he would manage to find some incredible dribble play. I thought he was so strong on offense. But then G2, like the desk said, they struggle sometimes, and then when they don't, it's like night and day for this team.
I think that Space Station are really going to cause havoc for G2 because G2 like to play that aggressive game. We always note them for their aggressive play style. But Space Station play the exact same way. And there's one guy on Space Station that I think enables his team to play the way they do, and that's Arsenal. Arsenal, it has the second highest boost per minute in the game below Memory. The difference between Arsenal and Memory is that Arsenal only spends about 40-second average at 0 boost. Memory spends 63 seconds a game at 0 boost. And Arsenal also steals 5.5 big pads a game.
He's a boost legend. A boost legend.
It's ridiculous. So when you have all the boost on the field, if Arsenal's taking the boost away, you're not doing anything, G2. And so it's gonna be hard for this G2 squad.
I mean, that's a big thing. I think that comes down to who's starving who, right? Because G2, they're so aggressive when they get on offense and they start destroying whoever they're playing and collapsing their defense. It's crazy because the infield passes come in. They don't have defense to challenge, and G2 have free shots. And I think it really is who's going to control the midfield this game. Whoever controls the midfield is going to have either Arsenal or Chicago just taking the boost.
Whoever controls the thirds, it feels like these guys play so far forward.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
You're absolutely right. And you know, for this game for G2, they have put themselves in a really precarious spot. You're talking just for G2 to clinch top 6, they have to 3-0 Space Station.
Yeah.
So we're underway. And Sipical, bang!
Okay.
Bang! That's how you start.
11 seconds in, Sipical. He just welcomes all of us to the first game with a double touch. No hesitation, just nails it.
And you saw G2, the defender on the backboard, just mistimed the touch. It bounced off, and it was Sipical's ball.
Yeah.
Sipical.
He is evolved. I don't know what it is the past 2 weeks. This man has evolved.
Sipical, ooh, just keeping that ball out. AXB picked up by Chicago. Chicago back over to Rizzo. To JNAPS here. G2 on the press. Rizzo and Chicago both commit on the play. Arsenal will have the clear. Sipical confirming the boost, and Arsenal will give way for Sipical on the play.
Oh, good demo from Rizzo, and the speed as well. Pressure from G2. Everything there. The infield pass as well. This is what we want to see from G2. Keeping possession, starving the enemy. Like you said, boost consumption is huge this game in this matchup for playstyles.
Sipical right in front, squares up. But Rizzo takes the ball away. AXB there quickly. Arsenal waiting on the far side of G2 territory. Good passing from G2. They find their way to Rizzo and back to Space Station territory. But a boomer with the space they're given. AXB another touch off the back wall. Miss read, but picked up by Chicago. Space Station back on the blue half. Arsenal can't flip into it there. Sipical picking up another demo. AXB wrapping around for Space Station. And it's turned away again by G2. Rizzo winning another challenge past midfield.
So far, the aggressive from G2. I like what I'm seeing. The only thing I'm worried about is just when they all throw themselves at the ball. I mean, it's almost like there's nobody back. The rotation is going to be so slow. So having the patience and knowledge just to say, you know, I'm going to lose this challenge. I'm not going to go in.
JNAPS taking the ball away from Space Station. The midfield still belongs to SSG. Rizzo struggling to find a clear. Arsenal's already downfield for Sipical, and Sipical will get the goal. All Arsenal needed to do was get in the way.
Almost like a fake from Arsenal. The ball gets popped up. And Chicago, just could not find any connection with the ball, and it's just going to float in.
I mean, G2 were pressing to try to get the ball out. They wanted the clear. They wanted the hard clear out. And so Chicago was racing back because they were just, they're playing at their thirds. Nobody was ready on the line.
And that's what I was talking about. If you throw everybody forward on defense, sometimes it can be really difficult to just, I mean, it's a habit to keep throwing yourself at the ball, if that makes sense. Because once everybody on defense is just, hey, I'm going to challenge everything I can, then at what point are you just leaving so much space in wide open nets?
Yeah, you can't have optimistic positioning when Spacestation are pressing you the way that they are.
Yeah.
The G2 down by 2. Arsenal makes one miss, but he can't get back to the ball. And the passes are still here for G2.
And I mean, that playstyle is fine. If you're going to challenge all the time, it's great. It just matters if you can outpace your opponents. And against a rising Sypical and Arsenal with the 1v1 skills he's put on display right here, it's going to be challenging.
And we talked about that at the beginning of this series. This is a clashing of two very similar playstyles, and it comes down to midfield and boost control for both of these squads. If you want to play fast, you need the resources to stay supersonic and throw yourself at every ball. So far, it's advantage Spacestation. Arsenal taken away by Rizzo back to Chainapps, but AXB sends it right in front of the box again. Sypical cutting off the pass from midfield. Chicago's there. Rizzo doesn't have the angle, has to pull off for now. Sypical couldn't find it. Chainapps hunting for a demo. Don't think he expected that ball to come down where it did. Now G2 looking for that goal off the back ball. It's blocked for now off the back wall. But G2 still pressing. Chicago, no boost to get back to Arsenal. Another shot blocked by Sypical wide anyway. Chainapps back to his touch. AXP was getting ready for the next touch, but Rizzo got demoed by Arsenal. Love that from Arsenal. That first touch to keep it close and to keep the ball away from G2. And G2 come away empty. There's about 5 demos that have happened in the last 30 seconds. Still G2 can't find the back of the net.
And it's all coming from the pressure from G2. Like you said, can't capitalize on it, but it's there. They're dominant, and they're just owning everything in the midfield, beating the challenges. But now SSG, they're breaking out, and it's going to get flipped around.
Caught out for Chainapps.
The 1v1.
Tried to do what he could there, going supersonic. 50-50 favorable for G2. Chicago, bouncer back. Rizzo looking for a bump. He got him. Chainapps scores. G2 cut the lead.
Pay attention to Rizzo here. He gets a almost 90-degree hit off the wall so Chicago can beat the defender, and then he goes in for the bump so that the third man, Chainapps, can rotate in. Everybody involved. Everybody is instrumental on this G2 roster for plays like that.
It was only a matter of time until G2 finally were able to strike. Now they need one more in game 1. And G2 with a 3-0, they clinch top 6, and they would love just to have a playoff spot after what has been a very up and down season. And more recently, just straight up down season for G2.
Yeah.
Looking to get back on the upswing. 10 seconds left. Long clear, but a lot of space for Chainapps. He has Rizzo and Chicago ready to move downfield. Back in Spacestation's corner. Killed by Sypical for now.
Kept it up.
Rizzo keeps this up, but it's right into Spacestation. Couldn't get it down right away. Sypical ends up keeping this up for G2. Rizzo, little boost, does what he can. AXB, the touchdown field, that will do it. And Spacestation take the first game in this series.
G2 almost responding back, but Spacestation just a little bit too dominant towards the beginning of game 1.
And Sypical again, 2 for 3.
He's insane.
He is almost tied for first in the league in shooting percentage. Gyro is at 1 with 30%. And Sypical coming in to today was at 29.51.
Yeah.
So if you like to round, they're even. They're tied. But that right there, Chicago, less than Arsenal.
He might have gone for the block as well. I mean,
and you have to respect it, right? But he's up so far. Rizzo's the last man back on this, and he doesn't have the touch.
Yeah.
So Spacestation, they take game number 1. And if you like what you're seeing from Spacestation Gaming, if you like this team, well, guess what? They have decals and items now in the esports shop in-game. The Octane decal is available for Spacestation Gaming. If you go in-game, the very top, there'll be esports shop. Click on that.
Yeah.
Go on in and support your teams. You can support all your favorite RLCS teams.
And speaking of, I mean, Spacestation, they're running away right now as well with the series. It's all about how they keep the momentum, because G2, it's weird. It's almost like they respond back in crazy fashions, but when it comes down to consistently proving yourself, having all team plays, it is so hard to keep that going.
Yeah, and I have to say, again, Arsenal was just a nuisance in the offensive half of the field. He's so good at possessing the ball and winning challenges, and does a lot with the boost that he's given. He's just so aggressive, and it's so hard to get by this team when you have Arsenal as that aggressor and then Sypical as the finisher. Rizzo just can't find his way back to the ball, running out of boost. So G2, they started to find their way through game number 1, but it was too late, and they start off game 2 exactly where they left off. JNAPS picking up the first goal.
And Chicago doing it off of a great challenge, and then he beats out Sypical in the air. What a pass, using the top of the ceiling. And JNAPS, he's got probably the easiest goal he's going to find all series long, right in front of the net. 14 seconds in, G2 respond, and they carry that momentum that they started to build towards the end of game 1.
Oh, Arsenal just missing the flip. Spacestation with a demo from Arsenal gives him the space here in midfield to do what he wants. He actually missed the midfield boost. Picked up by Sypical, takes a shot, that blocked. I mean, Sypical's dangerous no matter where he is on the pitch. Even from the far corner there, that's a good shot, but a better block. Demo by Rizzo, it actually took him off the ball. JNAPS coming in, but the read off the backboard is there for Arsenal. AXB forced up, and he has the save as well. So Spacestation now struggling to find possession. Good catch from AXB. Keeps possession for a while. A lot of space here.
Oh, big miss as well from Sypical. Not finding any clears. SSG, they're stuck in their own half. And another demo from Chicago. A bump as well from JNAPS. The physical plays coming in handy right now. Chicago almost had a finishing shot, and you can see the pressure getting to Spacestation. Look at all this space in the field. No boost right now for the 2 defenders. And G2 just bringing it to him.
You notice every time a player on G2, they're getting towards the net. Here's a good opportunity for JNAPS. It was hard to get around the far side of that ball from how he approached, but G2 are just consistently sitting on low to no boost every time they find that final push, and it's so hard for them to continue. The boost battle has been pretty even so far in game number 2. Another long clear. G2 not allowing Spacestation to play that high pressure game with these long clears, but Spacestation are responding with their own. And you see Sypical now, you're going to start seeing them dive after those balls to win that next challenge in the other end. It's like, great, we got the long clear, but now they might start sending one man up a little bit farther before that first clear to try to win that next challenge in the opposing half. Here's Rizzo already downfield for this, finds the next touch. Chicago quickly up for this off the back door. Does he have the shot?
No way.
And he does! Chicago handles it delicately. 2 goals for G2.
Rizzo, what a touch. The softest aerial he probably could have ever gotten, setting up Chicago, and then he lands the double touch off the backboard. That was crazy, because it wasn't just Chicago setting himself up for it. It was all thanks to Rizzo opening up the opportunity for the double touch to even take place.
That's exactly what you needed to see from G2 with these long clears they were getting. They just weren't winning the next challenge. So that next long clear that comes, Rizzo's already downfield, and he makes an incredible touch, like you said, Turtle. 2-goal lead for G2. Rizzo, misread, will be caught by AXB. Dribbled as it beat AXB. Solo play for Spacestation.
The flick coming through. AXB taking his time. I love how he didn't just rush and instantly try and flick it out. He saw the field, read it perfectly, and then managed to get the clutch flick, putting SSG on the board here in game 2.
And they needed it quickly. It felt like G2 were about to run away with it, and what has been the best offense in the league at times, when they start popping off and they start going, they score in bunches, G2 do. Good for Spacestation to stop the bleeding, and they almost put another shot on. JNAPS getting bumped in the way by Arsenal, and now he's struggling to clear the ball. He stays right behind the ball, and he does get it by midfield. Rizzo can't get back to it. Arsenal takes it away, looks for the next read. Chicago saw it coming. AXB just gets in his way.
Double commit.
JNAPS stays behind. Sypical got one on the wing. It's Arsenal, and it's taken away again. G2 wasting a little more time for Spacestation as they start from their own end. JNaps against Arsenal. Sypical getting bumped up a little bit. Will conserve some boost, but can't get back to the ball. AXP, last man, has Arsenal down the pitch. Arsenal, touch off the corner, back to AXP. He doesn't have enough boost. And Sypical forced to play back, but he has the space. Sypical catch, goes under JNaps, and JNaps recovers to pick up the save.
I like the idea of keeping it low there for Sypical. It's so common to see players using the bounce off the ball to go off the backboard and try and get a double touch, but at that point it's too easily readable. And Spacestation, now we have a 1v1 Chicago, and AXP's back. Can he get the hit?
Oh, barely with the corner of his Octane. So Spacestation survive the storm of G2, but they've been battered.
Yeah.
They need to find one more to tie. JNaps off the ceiling, goes under AXP. Long clear off the ceiling. Rizzo picks it up. Arsenal. Cross the pitch to Sypical. Back to Arsenal, and it's blocked by Chicago, but dunked and then saved by JNaps, keeping G2 squarely in the lead. JNaps pre-flips into it. Oh, couldn't find the touch on the flip reset. Excuse me. AXP popping up again. Sypical and Arsenal double commit.
Oh, it's open.
Free reign for JNaps. Insurance secured.
Off of probably one of the scariest situations G2 have been in all game. Goal line save from JNaps, then he comes around and gets the shot. Open net, but did you see how close Spacestation came to getting it? They had the demo play.
Yeah, Arsenal got that dunk.
The pass came through.
And it's G2. There.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Everything seemed to align for Spacestation. And heads up from JNaps to weave his way through traffic. Pick up the game. Really, the game-winning goal was that insurance goal for G2.
And it's easier to miss those sometimes than it is to hit a double touch because of everything that's on the line for JNaps.
And G2, they tie this series up, and it's big for G2. Or at least bigger in terms of the overall outlook of the standings. Spacestation, had they gone on to 3-0 G2, they would have clinched a top 4 spot. Now, we got none of that. We got none of that. There will be nothing confirmed. But both teams.
Look at that touch. Look at Rizzo's touch there. And the best part of this all is that with the soft hit from Rizzo, Chicago, normally you'd have to set yourself up for that before with either a dribble or popping it up. But Rizzo does it for Chicago, which means all the dude has to do is land the double touch, which for his expertise in mechanics, it's probably easy as can be. Yeah, but exactly.
Even still, that's not easy in that situation because Rizzo pops that up and Chicago just slams on the brakes.
And it's the pop from Rizzo. That was finesse.
Awesome.
It was finesse.
But Chicago was also finesse on that. And that double tap wasn't easy. To do it that slowly and to put it in the top shelf like he did, he's got to launch straight up, first of all. And he has to make sure he doesn't punt the ball straight up. He gets it right on the lower third of that ball to just put it slowly towards. Because you don't. It's being able to hit the ball with finesse on that first touch. Because you hit it too hard, and it's just going to hit right back in front of your face, and you don't have the goal. The fact that he was able to control it from the launch to the first touch to the goal was incredible mechanics from both Rizzo on the touch and then Chicago, both of them having to work a lot to get that goal.
And G2, I mean, they carried the momentum. Towards the end of the first game, they were strong. They were dominant, in my opinion. The passes were coming through, and they started out that game so strong. Let's see if they can do it again in Game 3.
Game number 3, the swing game. Fighting for series advantage. Rizzo on the pop, denied by Sypical and Arsenal. Sypical, see Arsenal always hunting on the line. He's also leading the league in demos per game by a wide margin. He's almost averaging 2 demos a game. The next highest is under a demo and a half. Such an aggressive player for Spacestation. They're going to need him here against G2, who have been beating Spacestation with these long clears down the pitch. Fighting for possession right now. Midfield belonging to AXB. Flips it by 1. He has a little bit of space in G2's corner. Over Chicago. JNaps will take the ball away here for G2. JNaps has the first lead.
Look at how fast JNaps was to that corner ball. Reading the bounce. I mean, these players so fast already, but here's a chance. What? Rizzo trying to get the save. This was so weird to watch. Had the flip. I thought he might have been able to get the touch, but he mistimed the flip. And then here comes a Spacestation. Everybody's there. for them.
And Rizzo had to be perfect on that.
Yeah.
He ran out of boost. He didn't have time to go and grab that corner boost. He had to turn in and try to time that flip. Like you said, just mistimed it. Space Station take the lead in game number 3. Arsenal running into 1. Sypical, his shot blocked at the origin by JNaps. Oh, JNaps almost sneaks that ball in. It's bounced off the corner. Chicago looking for Rizzo, and Rizzo is just playing insane here in the offensive third, and especially in front of the box.
If you could have gotten that hit, you saw it off the ceiling, looking for a touch. Chicago with a great pass out to JNaps. Typical. Good job getting in the way there.
Rizzo the catch for G2. Back over to JNaps. Chicago up for it quickly. Rizzo downfield, but Typical already confirmed the boost and will easily carry the ball out from his own corner, making 1 miss. Now Arsenal back to Typical. He's got AXB down in front and blocked again, but Arsenal's there. Just too high. Typical wasn't going to be able to follow it up. Or AXB, excuse me. They still retain possession. Chicago off the back wall finds it. G2 now struggling to find a clear in the corner. Arsenal keeping Chicago from the clear. Rizzo just finding the touch against the post.
And G2, their defense is getting tested right now. It's the most important part as to how long they can stall for. I feel like when they do get offense going, they've even said it in interviews, they're comfortable with leaving somebody all the way back on defense alone. Just means that that player who is last back has got to stall enough for his teammates to catch up and get on the defensive end. And
that's where a player like Arsenal can really make your life difficult with the demos and unconventional play that Arsenal brings to the table. He's got AXB downfield, has the read, off the crossbar, he just missed it. AXB went for it. It bangs straight down. G2 keep the goal score at 1.
Good 50.
A good challenge in midfield as well. JNaps sends it down the pitch, but AXB has it handled on the backboard. Sypical continues the touch. Chicago trying to clear it away, but it's Arsenal's ball. Back to Sypical, blocked again, straight off the ceiling. Having space is JNaps. Chicago racing back towards this. It's wide open. Sypical can't make it back. G2 tie the game.
And Sypical, a riskier touch, but it all came down to that dunk from Chicago. If he didn't get any touch there, they wouldn't have had an open net to shoot at. Catching him off guard and being so quick to challenge that shot is really what opened up that gap on defense for Space Station.
And G2, hang on a second. Arsenal getting that touch from Sypical, just a little too high. Taken away from JNaps, or by JNaps. Now he takes that ball away. AXB already downfield across the pitch for G2. They're trying to clear this ball out now. Chicago, high touch for JNaps. AXB at least makes a touch in front. They're keeping G2 locked in the blue half. But a pass over to a teammate will give G2 some room on the offensive side of the pitch. But they're finding it hard to find any shots against the Space Station squad, no matter what happens in the series. And I think both of these teams are playing in good form right now. G2 are finding solid passes. They're playing the aggressive game they want to play, but they're also not letting that back end open as often as we've seen them do it. And when they have, that third man has answered the call turtle, like you said, and have bailed G2 out when they needed to.
That's what it comes down to right now for the offense at G2. But the defense right now, they're really getting tested because the starvation from Space Station is coming out. Like you said, Arsenal taking the boost. But right now, here we have a chance. JNap's going to go for the bump. He gets it in midair, but Rizzo, where was the follow? Thankfully, Chicago, he's there. He says, I got you, Rizzo. I'll finish this off.
Rizzo.
What a demo. Look at that. JNap sniping him in the air.
Rizzo is so thankful Chicago had the follow-up.
Wow.
And Arsenal did what he could, but like you said, JNaps enables that whole play to even happen. And a great follow-up from Chicago. G2, 18 seconds. Take the lead here against Space Station.
With all the pressure from Space Station, they were in that G2 half so much. 10 seconds, typical. He's got a chance.
Flicks it around. Oh, and he blocks his own teammate's shot. AXP had it on target. Sypical can't throw it in front of the box. Arsenal's up for this quickly. Bangs it off the corner. AXP quickly there. It's following down for quick pass. Oh, what a block from Chicago. G2, hang on. They have series lead.
That was the most clutch save of the series. Chicago.
That was hot.
He needed to get, that was probably the only place as well as Sypical. A great location. He could have kept it lower, but I thought that was going to be a goal. Chicago off the wall, flips in. What a crucial moment for G2.
5 saves for Chicago off of 13 shots from Spacestation.
And look at the double commit from Spacestation. JNAPS recognizes all the space, the double commit as well. He has confidence. Rizzo's coming in. Unfortunate hit from Rizzo, but Chicago, he's there to clean it up.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's the demo. Rizzo, you can miss here.
At least the hit wasn't like...
Only time I'll ever say that.
All Rizzo really needed to do was just get it somewhere close to the net. Because, you know, you have somebody crashing in off of the double commit. If there was no double commit from Space Station, they would have had somebody rotating back. But thankfully, all the time in the world for G2, the pressure is definitely off if you miss that.
So Space Station now down in this series 2-1. G2 looking for a 3-1 victory here, and it doesn't confirm anything for G2, but they keep themselves alive in the playoff race. We've casted both C9 and G2 for the first 2 games of the day, and we're talking about both of them trying to avoid promotion relegation. I'm still trying to get my mind wrapped.
I don't know what it is either. It's weird.
Yeah. But G2 look good so far.
But then it's like, is it really weird when you have people like SSG, Space? I mean, they are strong. And right now, G2, they're bringing it to them. The defense has been lasting, because if you had told me that all the starvation would come out from Space Station, I would not have thought G2's defense would last. But they've made improvements. Their rotations have been strong. That last man getting the touch when he needs to, and then Chicago as well. What a save. When it comes down to these dire moments, G2 responds.
And even in situations where G2 have been losing the boost battle, they've been able to find solid touches to keep the ball away from Space Station, especially in game number 3. And now they're just starting to take control of the pitch overall in the series. Rizzo, great follow-up touch. Chicago, another one for JNAPS, and it's blocked by AXB. Rizzo, who has been up and down this season, has really played a solid series for G2. He has enabled goals for his team. He's had some nice passes and some good saves as well. Love what I'm seeing from G2 against Space Station. We start game 4. AXB, another shot turned away. Sypical wanted to slow that down, but no follow-up came for Space Station. Rizzo and Chicago.
No way.
They juggled the ball in the air together.
The double commit. I mean, Rizzo was going for a flip reset, but Chicago, I don't think Rizzo knew he was coming in, and he got a hit off the soft touch from Rizzo. Would have been the second time that's happened.
And he came up pretty quickly
Almost
after.
Turns out, yeah.
I wonder if it was communication on Rizzo's end where he realized, oh, I don't have this, and said something, maybe a classic help.
I mean, we don't really see Rizzo going for flip resets all the time, so he definitely
could feeling himself.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good sign as well. And Rizzo, I think his decision-making on defense has been strong. You know, deciding not to challenge when he needs to.
And he picks up another one here on the air dribble, looking for a goal, but blocked. And JNAPS, who's playing the read down, was maybe expecting that challenge to go straight down.
Yeah.
But either way, Chicago had the back end secured. And we talk about, you know, G2 leaving that third man back to really handle business, the trust that they have in each other to do that. And once G2 get more comfortable, as we see right now in game 4, they start getting back to that old, real high pressure, send your third man in the attacking third style of play that G2 love. Controlling the boost right now against Space Station.
Rizzo.
Right now, Space Station are really hurting for boosts. They're relying on small pads, but these shots not too threatening from G2. JNAP slows it down, and he's over Arsenal's head, and he's over AXB as well on the touch. Once the bump, he doesn't need it. Sypical ends up picking up the save regardless. Sypical with no boost does what he can. He gives Space Station some breathing room.
And I like what JNAPS did there. He could have turned around and challenged it, but instead he decided to wait for his teammate to go. He's on the backboard, gets a nice clear, and now they can keep possession and pressure going against Space Station.
Space Station on this defensive, everyone was flat-footed on the back line.
Yeah.
No one's ready for a touch on the wall. But G2, they didn't have anything threatening headed that way. Space Station are just continually forced back in their own end, and this is a team that has allowed open nets themselves. They allowed an open net earlier in this series. Arsenal flips it over JNaps. Spacestation, shot from Arsenal, maybe a pass for AXB. Whichever it wasn't good enough. Over 3 minutes of gameplay here in the 4th game of the set have gone by. Arsenal carrying it by Chicago. It feels like Spacestation are just holding on. They're waiting for that one clear that gives them possession. They haven't had it consistently. Maybe here's where they get it off of the win for AXB. Sypical coming in around G2's corner. Cut off by Chicago, who just dumps himself right in front.
And what a touch. He intercepted the dribble, getting in the way and throwing all that possession for the dribble off.
Catch by AXB. Does what he can with the little boost that he has. Arsenal looks for the top corner. He can't find it. And another defensive touch from Rizzo gets G2 out. Arsenal keeps the ball away. AXB kicks it away from JNaps. Sypical losing on the challenge. Rizzo playing back against Arsenal. Arsenal, he's over Rizzo. Gets JNaps to beat. He can't find the dunk. And JNaps will take the ball away. Now taken away by Sypical. Less than a minute to go for Spacestation and G2 in regulation. Sypical starts from his own end. Weaves his way by in midfield. AXB high against the backboard. Rizzo, he doesn't have the read and bailed out by JNaps. Arsenal picks this up now from the 3rd. Carries it over 1, that's Rizzo. But JNaps will pick it up, not feeling the pressure from Spacestation. Arsenal with nothing in the tank. Makes one challenge. Rizzo, one more. AXB got bumped. Allowed Rizzo to make this monster flick down the pitch. Sypical picks this ball up. AXB, another clear. Time waning down to 0. Arsenal getting the bump on Chicago. AXB challenge against JNaps. Rizzo has a look here against Sypical. He actually flips back into it and wins this. Chicago, big miss. JNaps, what does he decide to do? Pitches it downfield. It's a double commit down to the... Oh, I thought he had it.
I was scared. Oh. G2 could have kept possession there.
It was a double commit by Spacestation.
Yeah.
But it's overtime. Game 4. G2 looking for the win. Here's JNaps. He misses off the crossbar. No good. Rizzo takes the boost away, and Chicago will take the ball. Taken by AXB. Good touch down the pitch for AXB, but it's still G2's ball. Chicago. Hard pass to JNaps in midfield. Arsenal coming in, bumping his way by 1, but Rizzo cuts off the play. Spacestation can't get a challenge win in their own half. Sypical wins 1 touch. Where's the 2nd? Here's AXB. Looks at it for free. The shot never comes. Sypical wide touch. Arsenal against Chicago. Spacestation flipped this around quickly on G2 territory. Chicago beats it by 1. G2 will race down the pitch. Sypical, the last man back, looking for a pass. Rizzo, just too much juice on the pass. Roller across the box.
Chicago almost got the pass off. I thought it was just going to go for a flick. Honestly, it might have even been a better option. Because Rizzo, he's not going to push that forward. It's overtime. Who's going to be aggressive? Who's going to push up? It's coming down to counterattacks, and that last man back needs to get a touch every single time.
You wouldn't think this G2 team is a team fighting towards relegation, but oh! Arsenal picks up the save. JNaps, another shot blocked again. The double commit, still an issue for Spacestation. Trying to stop G2 on offense. Rizzo almost gets in front. JNaps gets bumped. Turnaround for AXB. Sypical's in front. Shot to Arsenal. Scores! Spacestation force game 5.
The bump plays. Look at JNaps just getting bullied out of the way. Then Chicago, he manages to get a touch. And everybody from SSG got a touch on that. Arsenal there for the security dunk to make sure the ball goes in. Spacestation stay alive, and they force Game 5.
The only way Spacestation were able to break through that trance that they were in from G2 on offense was 1 bump in midfield.
That's it.
Is all it took.
And it's because it really comes down a lot for even both these teams, we've noticed, is that last man has to get a touch. And with Spacestation, they have been very aggressive with whoever is forward going and hunting down prey for a bump.
This has been a very entertaining series. Both of the series so far had moments where you're like, you know, these teams are in the bottom half of the league. Spacestation, the only team that has a chance at, or had a chance at top 4. They look so good right now. I mean, North America in general really showing up so far.
Definitely.
In week 5. Spacestation, even though they were feeling so much pressure from G2, G2 put on what was it? 18 shots. 18 shots on net.
Spacestation had 3.
They had 3 shots. Spacestation were doing so well on defense. Arsenal had, or Cynical had 7 saves. I mean, come on, man.
18 shots and 0 goals.
No offense. They couldn't control the pitch.
It's crazy. And G2, I mean, the offense was there. You think back to a lot of times where it felt like they just needed to get the final mechanic hit. Like with Chicago, I keep remembering. He went for the pass. You saw it in overtime. Went for the pass across. Couldn't find it. Maybe if he just went for a flick, something to put the heat on. But still, I mean, this is coming down to the last string. This is crazy.
And it's going to be difficult for Space Station if G2 continue to put on that pressure and secure the boost as well as they have.
Yeah.
Because right now, all 3 of these guys on G2 are playing really well. JNaps, we haven't said his name a lot, but he saves a lot of critical goals for G2, and he's secured a lot of goals as well.
At Space Station, I've noticed they only had 3 shots last game, and it felt like almost all of them were some kind of dribble opportunities, trying to force one on net, maybe go for a bump play. And G2, let's see if they can keep the offense up and just starve Space Station. Didn't work last game, but if you just keep the pressure up, it has to end up in some kind of a punishment.
JNaps, the dump over to Chicago, blocked by AXB. AXB winning another challenge. A shot by Arsenal turned away by JNaps, who's also feeling the heat. Space Station, Sypical under Rizzo. The pass to AXB was good, but it was blocked. AXB keeping the ball away from G2. Back to Sypical, but Sypical missed it. Rizzo jumping in front of that ball. Arsenal can't get it out either. AXB makes a solid touch over to Arsenal, but it's not good enough. Arsenal, no boost on that play. Sypical will get the first touch out. And now, Space Station again, they're losing these midfield challenges. AXB picks this up, but they lose again to Chicago. Here's Rizzo, he's already downfield. He just couldn't make a solid touch onto the ball. They caught Space Station out on defense.
Yeah.
Huge win for Arsenal. The net's open for him, and it's good. Space Station score.
Arsenal, the first goal. It's another counterattack from their defensive end off of a crazy 50-50. Just squeezes it all the way to the other side. And it was definitely a rougher angle for most open nets. That was definitely challenging. He's clutch enough to make it. No sweat.
Space Station first to go in Game 5. Quick follow-up from Sypical on the next kickoff. Sypical shot on target, and it's blocked. Still in front of the box. AXB scores for Space Station.
And I'm looking at all this space right now for Sypical. Somebody has to turn. The challenge missed in midfield, and Sypical puts on a great, speedy shot. And it just makes the follow-up that much easier. 2 goals now, 3 minutes and 15 seconds left. G2, they've been struggling.
Yeah, the first half of this season for Space Station, you would have said, oh man, 10% shooting percentage. What's happening? Well, they're hitting the crossbar, they're hitting the post. Now, it's just goal after goal. Arsenal puts this one in.
And that was the cheat from AXB, the speed after the pinch kickoff. He responded so fast to that. And now they've got a comfortable lead here in Game 5.
Space Station, one of those upstart teams. They were in the RLCS last season, made a change. Out it goes Safu, in comes Arsenal. The change that they wanted, better shooting. First half of the season, they weren't getting it. Second half of the season, well, you see the threat that Arsenal puts on the pitch. He jumps up in front. He doesn't even have to make the touch. That's the second time that this has happened.
Hey, just look at Arsenal. Look at how he doesn't even want to rotate out because he has so much confidence in his team. He's just trying to be annoying. Goes for the bump and then tries to get a hit. He is in the face of G2, opening up chances for them. 4
goals. Space Station.
They're running away.
They're out at the park walking the dog right now. Play with their monitor turned off.
After 18 shots to 3 last game as well, they come in. They've got 10 shots. G2 1.
The AXB kicks this down the pitch, saved by Rizzo. 4 goals down for G2. It took 18 shots just to score 3 times in Game 4, or 2 times, excuse me, in Game 4. Space Station's defense not easy to crack. And now you're talking about scoring 4 in 2 minutes. Good luck, G2. Space Station forcing their way through one. JNaps and Chicago taking this ball away. Pass to Rizzo,
what
cut
a
off.
read, typical. He saw the flip, the pass connection. It's the way to read that, and then he sets up AXB.
This is just,
It's typical. He's running the game right now.
This pass is perfect.
Wow.
It's that touch right on the wheel.
Yeah.
You want to be finesse with that pass. You don't want it to be too hard. You want it to be right on AXB's nose. Give him the best chance at the ball. Make G2 work for the touch. And he flips into it right on the wheel. I mean, that was just perfectly executed by Sypical.
And G2, they've dealt with a lot of sweeps this season. And now they make it to Game 5. They've been known historically to be so dominant in Game 5, but SSG, they have brought it to them. Sypical and Arsenal right now, the dynamic duo. Then AXB as well, the speed off of kickoffs. So outstanding. And there he is again. I mentioned his name, and he comes in.
It's GG.
Yeah.
Arsenal picks this up, says,
off the demo.
bye-bye, Rizzo. Bye-bye. Good night.
And he averages about, what, 2 demos a game per series?
Yeah, it's basically 2 demos a series. Or not a series, I'm sorry, a game.
A game in this. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And not only that, but like he, by a wide margin, he owns the stolen big pad category. It's 5.5 per game that he steals. And those are just the back 2 boosts. That doesn't include the midfield boosts that he wins when fighting for possession in midfield. The next highest is a full boost down. Like it's like 4.5.
Yeah.
Rizzo will pick up a goal here, but it feels like too little too late for G2.
I mean, 1 minute and 8 left. They have got to just, at this point, it's like winning the lottery.
You're talking about
every single kickoff has to be in their favor.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen that in RLCS.
I believe, Jorby.
In a minute, Turtle?
I don't believe.
Can you score 5 goals in a ranked game in a minute?
Hey, man.
Probably. Ranked is a fun scape.
Yeah.
A fun landscape to traverse. But it looks like a ranked game for Space Station right now against G2 in Game 5. They have just found their way through G2's defense, cut them like Swiss cheese.
Yeah. It has been lights out Game 5. But you also, I mean, G2, it was better. It's better. Every single team so far, the Rogue and Cloud9, they have stepped up. But it's on the day who is going to make that final challenge. And right now in Game 5, it's SSG just winning.
And G2, earlier in this series, it felt like they really started to figure Space Station out. They were beating them on these long clears. That allowed them to start winning some midfield boost and then putting some extended drives together on offense. And then one bump in Game 4 completely changes the face of this series forever. And G2 never got this series back after that bump on a JNaps in midfield. That gave Space Station the victory and gave them quite a dominant performance in Game 5. Space Station, it belongs to them. They beat G2.
4-2 for Space Station Gaming.